When engaging a new client, what is the primary document a broker must provide to outline services and obligations? A. Statement of advice. B. Product disclosure statement. C. Record of advice. D. Financial services guide. FAG. The correct answer is D. Financial Services Guide. FSG explanation. The Financial Services Guide (FSG) outlines the broker's services, remuneration, dispute resolution process, and license details. It must be provided at the earliest opportunity to ensure clients understand their rights. Why is a needs analysis or fact find a critical part of the advice process? A. To validate the insurer's underwriting terms. B. To tailor recommendations to the client's specific needs. C. To ensure client signs the advice form. D. To meet advertising compliance obligations. The correct answer is B. To tailor recommendations to the client's specific needs. Explanation. Fact find ensures the broker gathers enough personal and financial information to recommend appropriate insurance products. This ensures compliance with the obligation to provide suitable advice. What action is appropriate when the broker identifies that the best advice is to take no action at all? A. Recommend a new product for better coverage. B. Discontinue the relationship. C. Clearly explain and document that no change is in the client's best interest. D. Refer the client to another advisor. The correct answer is C. Clearly explain and document that no change is in the client's best interest. Explanation. Advising no action is sometimes the most suitable path. Under the code, this advice must be fair, transparent, and documented in record or statement of advice if required. Which of the following represents a potential conflict of interest for an insurance broker? A. Recommending a product based solely on the client's needs. B. Suggesting product that pays the highest commission. C. Comparing two policies based on coverage. D. Referring the client to an external underwriter for niche risks. The correct answer is B. Suggesting a product that pays the highest commission. Explanation. Recommending a product for higher commission rather than client benefit is a conflict of interest. Brokers must identify and manage such conflicts to comply with ethical and legal standards. What is the main purpose of a statement of advice, SOA, or record of advice, ROA? A. To provide investment product comparisons. B. To allow faster processing of claims. C. To disclose brokers' annual performance. D. To document the basis for the broker's advice and recommendations. The correct answer is D. To document the basis for the broker's advice and recommendations. Explanation. SOA or ROA provides transparency about why certain products were recommended, helping the client assess whether the advice suits their goals and risk profile. Which of the following actions best demonstrates professionalism and integrity in insurance broking? A. Focusing solely on commissions. B. Prioritizing product sales over disclosures. C. Treating clients with honesty, diligence, and respect. D. Ignoring complaints that seem minor. The correct answer is C. Treating clients with honesty, diligence, and respect. Explanation. The code mandates brokers to uphold high standards of professional conduct, including clear communication, ethical dealings, and respectful treatment of all clients, data, financial ratios, and credit scoring models. How should a broker handle a personal relationship that could influence their objectivity in advising a client? A. Hide the relationship to avoid complications. B. Proceed with normal advice. C. Transfer the client to another unrelated broker. D. Disclose the relationship and manage the conflict transparently. The correct answer is D. Disclose the relationship and manage the conflict transparently. Explanation. The code requires open disclosure and management of conflicts such as family ties or dual roles, ensuring clients are aware and protected. Which statement best reflects a broker's obligation under the best interest duty? A. Recommend products with the highest profitability. B. Consider only the insurer's offerings. C. Explain all exclusions, costs, and limitations to the client. D. Avoid advising if the client doesn't ask for it. The correct answer is C. Explain all exclusions, costs, and limitations to the client. Explanation. Acting in a client's best interest includes ensuring that the client understands what the product does and doesn't cover, including key limitations, costs, and conditions. If a broker becomes aware of a serious breach of the code within their firm, what is the expected course of action? A. Report it through the firm's whistleblowing framework. B. Stay silent to protect company reputation. C. Post warning on social media. D. Handle it privately with the client involved. The correct answer is A. Report it through the firm's whistleblowing framework explanation. The code supports internal reporting mechanisms for misconduct. Brokers must escalate serious issues to protect consumers and uphold legal obligations. Under IBCP obligations, how long does a licensee have to report a significant breach after it is identified? A. 3 months. B. 30 calendar days. C. 6 months. D. 10 business days. The correct answer is B. 30 calendar days. Explanation. IBCP requires licensees to report significant breaches of financial services laws within 30 calendar days from when they become aware of the issue under the reportable situations regime. What is the core purpose of the Insurance Brokers Code of Practice? A. To allow the IBCP to impose penalties without legal proceedings. B. To promote insurer competition through deregulation. C. To ensure brokers act ethically and in the best interests of clients. D. To standardize pricing of insurance premiums. The correct answer is C. To ensure brokers act ethically and in the best interests of clients. Explanation. The IBCP, developed by NIBA, promotes ethical conduct, transparency, professionalism, and client-focused services within the insurance broking industry. Its voluntary code of self-regulation aimed at improving trust and outcomes for clients. Which organisation developed and oversees the Insurance Brokers Code of Practice? A. Australian Prudential Regulation Authority, IPRA. B. Australian Financial Complaints Authority, AFCAT. C. National Insurance Brokers Association, NIBA. D. Insurance Council of Australia, ICA. The correct answer is C. National Insurance Brokers Association, NIBA. Explanation. NIBA created the code as a professional benchmark for its members. It maintains and updates the code to reflect evolving legal, ethical, and service expectations in the broking industry. Which legal framework does the Insurance Brokers Code of Practice operate alongside? A. Australian Insurance Industry Protocol. B. Corporations Act 2001. C. Criminal Code Act 1995. D. Privacy Amendment Enhancing Privacy Protection Act. The correct answer is B. Corporations Act 2001. Explanation. The code supports and complements obligations under the Corporations Act 2001, particularly for brokers who hold an Australian Financial Services Licence (AFSL). What does the code require brokers to do when providing personal advice? A. Recommend the highest priced product. B. Focus on the broker's financial gain. C. Tailor the advice to the client's individual circumstances and needs. D. Refer clients to a IBCP for final decision making. The correct answer is C. Tailor the advice to the client's individual circumstances and needs. Explanation. The code's core principle is that brokers must act in the best interests of the client, providing advice that is suitable, relevant, and aligned with their needs, goals, and risk profile. Which of the following is not part of the regulatory context referenced in the IBCP? A. IBCP Regulatory Guide 271B, Australian Consumer Law. C. Corporations Act 2001. D. Life Insurance Framework Agreement. The correct answer is D. Life Insurance Framework Agreement. Explanation. While the life insurance framework is relevant to life insurance, it is not directly referenced in the code. The code instead aligns with the IBCP RG 146 and RG 271 of CAR rules and Australian consumer law. What does RG 146, as referenced in the code, focus on? A. Conflict resolution mechanisms. B. Training and competency standards for giving financial product advice. C. Regulatory enforcement procedures. D. Fee disclosure for group insurance. The correct answer is B. Training and competency standards for giving financial product advice. Explanation. IBCP RG 146 defines the education and competency standards that insurance brokers must meet to be authorized to provide financial product advice. If a client files a complaint, what must brokers do under the code? A. Respond only if the complaint is in writing. B. Delay response until legal counsel is consulted. C. Handle the complaint fairly, transparently, and in a timely manner. D. Automatically escalate to AFCAT. The correct answer is C. Handle the complaint fairly, transparently, and in a timely manner. Explanation. Brokers are expected to acknowledge and resolve complaints efficiently in accordance with the IBCP RG 271. This includes having internal dispute resolution (IDA) procedures in place. How should brokers address conflicts of interest according to the code? A. Ignore them if the product is suitable. B. Only disclose them if asked by the client. C. Disclose and manage them transparently and ethically. D. Withdraw from the client relationship immediately. The correct answer is C. Disclose and manage them transparently and ethically. Explanation. The code requires brokers to identify, disclose, and mitigate conflicts of interest to ensure client trust and impartial advice. Which of the following best reflects the code's expectation for how brokers should manage client documentation? A. Only retain documents that support the broker's advice. B. Ensure that all documentation is stored securely and managed accurately. C. Share all client documents with third-party providers for efficiency. D. Destroy documents once the policy is issued. The correct answer is B. Ensure that all documentation is stored securely and managed accurately. Explanation. One of the 12 core commitments under the ICP is to manage information and documentation accurately. This includes ensuring proper record keeping, secure storage, and accurate communication in accordance with legal and ethical standards. Which of the following best reflects the code's expectation for how brokers should manage client documentation? A. Ensure that all documentation is stored securely and managed accurately. B. Only retain documents that support the broker's advice. C. Share all client documents with third-party providers for efficiency. D. Destroy documents once the policy is issued. The correct answer is A. Ensure that all documentation is stored securely and managed accurately. Explanation. One of the 12 core commitments under the ICP is to manage client information and documentation carefully and accurately. Brokers must ensure records are complete, stored securely, and accessible to meet both legal and ethical obligations. Which legislation governs how insurance brokers in Australia must handle personal information? A. Corporations Act 2001. B. Freedom of Information Act 1982. C. General Insurance Code of Practice. D. Privacy Act 1988. The correct answer is D. Privacy Act 1988. Explanation. The Privacy Act 1988 outlines how businesses, including insurance brokers, must manage personal information. The Act enforces the Australian Privacy Principles Acts, which guide data collection, use, and storage. Which of the following is an appropriate way for a broker to protect client data under cybersecurity best practices? A. Saving client data on a personal USB drive. B. Using unsecure public Wi-Fi when accessing client files. C. Encrypting client data and using multi-factor authentication. D. Sharing login credentials with colleagues for convenience. The correct answer is C. Encrypting client data and using multi-factor authentication. Explanation. Cybersecurity standards require brokers to use secure practices, including encryption, firewalls, password protection, and multi-factor authentication to prevent unauthorized access and data breaches. How long must a broker give a client to resolve a complaint through internal dispute resolution? Either before referring to CAT. A. 21 calendar days. B. 45 calendar days. C. 14 business days. D. 60 business days. The correct answer is B. 45 calendar days. Explanation. Under ASIC's regulatory guidelines, brokers must respond to complaints within 45 calendar days through either processes. If unresolved, the client has the right to escalate the complaint to the Australian Financial Complaints Authority (FCA). Which of the following would be considered a vulnerable client under the Insurance Brokers Code of Practice? A. A client who has made multiple claims. B. The client asking for a price discount. C. A client recovering from a traumatic incident. D. A client comparing several brokers. The correct answer is C. A client recovering from a traumatic incident. Explanation. Clients experiencing trauma, mental illness, financial hardship, or disability are classified as vulnerable under the code. Brokers must recognize these signs and provide extra care and support. What is the recommended adjustment when working with a vulnerable client who has limited English proficiency? A. Decline to work with the client. B. Provide extra paperwork in English. C. Use simplified language or an interpreter. D. Ask a family member to translate without consent. The correct answer is C. Use simplified language or an interpreter. Explanation. When dealing with vulnerable clients, brokers should adjust communication methods, such as using interpreters, support people, or visual aids, to ensure the client fully understands the advice. Which of the following best describes a broker's responsibility in record keeping related to complaints? A. Delete all records after the complaint is closed. B. Document the complaint, actions taken, and outcome. C. Only store unresolved complaints. D. Store data but do not analyze complaint trends. The correct answer is B. Document the complaint, actions taken, and outcome. Explanation. Brokers must maintain detailed records of complaints and how they were resolved. It supports continuous improvement, risk monitoring, and ensures regulatory compliance. If a client lodges a complaint, what is the first obligation of the broker? A. Wait to respond until a formal letter arrives. B. Dismiss the complaint unless it is about money. C. Acknowledge and respond promptly and respectfully. D. Immediately refer to AFCA. The correct answer is C. Acknowledge and respond promptly and respectfully. Explanation. The code requires that all complaints, even informal ones, be acknowledged and addressed respectfully and without delay as part of high-quality client service. What is the best way for a broker to ensure no undue pressure is placed on a vulnerable client? A. Allow the client to sign without explanation. B. Recommend a product immediately to save time. C. Provide extra time and ensure informed consent. D. Avoid giving the client full policy information. The correct answer is C. Provide extra time and ensure informed consent. Explanation. Brokers should ensure vulnerable clients are not rushed or pressured and instead given time, support, and full information to make confident, informed decisions. If a broker collects a client's personal health information, what is mandatory requirement under the Privacy Act? A. Collect it only when necessary and with consent. B. Store it indefinitely on all devices. C. Disclose it to family without permission. D. Share it with the insurer's marketing team. The correct answer is A. Collect it only when necessary and with consent. Explanation. Under the Privacy Act 1988 and Australian Privacy Principles Apps, personal health information is classified as sensitive information. Brokers must only collect such information if it's necessary for legitimate purpose and the client has given informed consent. What role does complaint trend analysis play in a broker's operations? A. It supports continuous improvement in compliance. B. It enables dismissal of repetitive complaints. C. It reduces the need for record keeping. D. It helps identify systemic issues and improve internal practices. The correct answer is D. It helps identify systemic issues and improve internal practices. Explanation. Complaint trend analysis allows brokers to monitor patterns, spot systemic weaknesses, and take proactive steps to improve service and compliance. It's key part of the continuous improvement cycle required under the code.